what's up everybody, it's Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome back to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we're going to be playing a track called the Connect Visual Backyard Moto Compound by Jack Perry Designs, JPD for short. A lot of people will be familiar with a lot of Jack Perry's work over the years. It's been like a weird thing because he was banned on the MX Sim forums a pretty long time ago, and usually when you get banned on the sim forums, it's pretty much a permanent thing. Like, there's only been a couple people, I think, ever that have been unbanned from the forums. So because of that, every time that Jack Perry has a new track to release, he usually has to have someone else release it for him. And in this case, it was Tyron Tomich, I always say his name wrong, but he was the guy that released this track on the forums, and it's a couple months old now. It's not a brand spanking new track or anything like that, but it is a really, really cool track for a lot of different reasons. First of which, I feel like the whole like backyard compound thing does get maybe played out a little bit, but the whole like backyard compound thing was really popular in sim like 2013, 2014, and people were making like some actual tight little narrow backyard-ish motocross tracks instead of like full-blown compounds, which I think it started kind of taking off more like 15, 16, 17. Everyone started making basically, you know, like the Moto sandbox type of compounds or Baker's Factory in sim, but for their teams and for them to play. And what I like about this track that Jack Perry did was that it definitely does feel like it's just a really kind of tight-knit little backyard track. It's, you know, a decent size of land, but the house is right there in front of me. And then the track kind of weaves back on itself very tightly through these trees. And then it has like one little section where it goes off into a valley in the back. But beyond that, there's not, you know, like a huge difference between where the house is to where like the back of the property is. So to me, that makes it feel a little bit more realistic, and I like that aspect of it. It does feel a little bit more, you know, backyard moto compound-ish because of that. And then another thing that I really liked that Jack did with this track was he made the traction a fair bit grippy. It's got quite a bit of like roll resistance, I would say, to it is what I feel in the traction. And because of that, everything is built a little bit smaller, I would say, almost, you know, probably closer to like 1.1 or 1.125 in scale. Whereas like, you know, most supercross tracks in this game now are built like 1.3 or 1.4 to 1. So it's quite a bit overscaled from what it used to be. It was a lot closer to 1 to 1 in the old days of sim, I would say. But the 450s have kind of blown it out of the water a little bit. And so because of that, again, it just gets a little bit more of like a realistic feeling, like a real, you know, kind of small little moto track in a backyard. And, you know, the traction works, I think, pretty well. Like, it's pretty hard to slide out, and you get pretty good traction coming out of the corners, but because of that roll resistance, you're never really going that fast. I think I have speed on right now, and, like, yeah, I mean, I'm only getting up to, mid-50s through that section, which is probably the fastest section of the track, and then the rest of the track, I'm hovering between 20s and 30s, which, you know, sounds pretty fast, but then you have to remember to scale 1.1 or 1.125 to scale, you know, you're adding an extra 3 to 5 miles per hour probably on every little thing right there than what would be happening in real life. So anyway, a lot of just kind of jargon that I'm talking about right here. The track itself, very cool, like I said, kind of tight-knit, and because it's a little bit tighter and closer together, I like that he's only included like basically one main rut in every corner. And then, you know, there's options to go to the outside, and then like this corner, for example, there's like 3 ruts going through here, but they're very easy to see. He's got a couple little like mini ruts in between jumps right there. And I do remember for a little while there's actually like a pretty, you know, popular thing going on in sim track building where everybody was building tracks that was single line tracks basically to try to mimic what it feels like at these compounds, and everybody ends up just doing the same lines over and over again. So at least he did include a couple of options to make it a little bit more out there, but it does still, you know, kind of resemble just having those single line tracks where there's only one main line to hit. The outsides are very good though. I would say they're probably actually a little bit faster for me to hit than the insides right now, just because my skill set isn't that great. But the Moto track is very, very good. I definitely enjoyed this Moto track. I like the feel of it. I like the Supercross track better, though. This Supercross track has very, you know, backyard test track vibes to it. I feel like it's becoming more and more popular in the last, like, 5 or 6 years that you have privateers on their own property building Supercross tracks. This kind of feels a little bit like that. It feels like someone, you know, put together a nice little small track and built it very well. Very realistic feeling Supercross track as well. I'm sure there's a couple unrealistic options that you can hit on it, but for the most part, I've only been able to hit a couple, triple quad once or so, and everything else is pretty even keel. Like this rhythm section is actually pretty difficult. You can go outside and triple in, but here you have to double in, triple on off, step off, and double into the corner, which is, a pretty standard, I feel like, Supercross rhythm section line. The whoops are pretty easy to get on top of too, so for you beginner-ish players out there still trying to get back into Sim, another option for you there to find some comfort in some whoops right there. And yeah, just overall a really good Supercross track. Let's see if I can bust this quad. Oh, a little bit short on the landing, but got that quad off. And then there's another rhythm line that I have hit only once in this back straightaway that I'm going to try to get right here. So if you get this good enough, you can triple in, triple again, and then I didn't stay low enough, but you can quad into this corner right here. I'll try to get it next time by. But I like that turning rhythm section option, and then I just screwed this up again, so I'll go inside again. But you can triple quad double in this one pretty easily. It's not actually too hard to triple in, and then once you're going fast enough from the triple in, the quad is really easy to pop over. So kind of an easy-ish Supercross track, I would say. It's got a couple options that are a little bit gnarly, a little bit out there, but you guys will often hear me talk about just having nice tracks where it's not, there's not like a big send hit that you have to hit every single lap. There's just, a decent flow to the track. You can pretty easily find a groove and hit the same lines over and over again. And I like Supercross tracks like that in this game. Some people like the big send stuff and having a little bit more out there in terms of Supercross tracks, but I like the more simple ones. I like leaving the more intense, gnarly, you have to hit huge line stuff to the pro level tracks in the Supercross series that they have in this game. And like it when there's a compound track that is fairly doable for the rest of us plebs out here. Let's see if I can get this time. So you want to go outside. Just didn't hook into that as well as I wanted to. I'm trying to land on the left side of the Supercross triple, which is also the finish line jump on this track. And I just can't quite seem to get over there. So let's hit the whoops a little bit cleaner, maybe. Missed the berm, so we'll just swing it out onto the start straight. And this track actually does have timing gates too, so if you want to just hot lap the Supercross track and get your actual lap times with it as well, it comes with a separate folder to install the Supercross track onto your computer as well. So definitely cool that they included that option, so you can time trial and hot lap the Supercross tracks a little short on the tunnel jump right there. All right, let's see if I can get this line again. That triple in, I just don't have the same seat bound skills that I used to back in my prime when I was good at it. I just made an Instagram post the other day too about this is going on to my 12th year playing MX Sim, being involved in the community and everything like that, and it's like kind of crazy how quick time flies, because I still pretty vividly remember like the first time I was like involved in watching the Sim Supercross series and writing the race reports that I did for the series back then, and just kind of how I got started in all of it. It's really cool to think back to those days and think that I was just this kind of bright-eyed kid and was just interested in playing the game and talking about the game, and now it's obviously blossomed into so much more than that for me over my basically decade plus playing this game. So always a little bit nostalgic to think back to that. But yeah, still having a blast playing, still having a good time picking it up and playing it. Obviously get a little bit more into bikes and some other the console games and stuff like that every now and then, but still got a soft spot for Sim. It's probably always going to be it'll probably always be my favorite game of all time. There's plenty of games that I probably enjoy playing more now than Sim, but during its peak when I was really good at the game for 3 or 4 years there, I didn't really even play like anything else, and there wasn't much else to play anyway, but just everything that Sim was for me back in those days and how good I was at it at one point and how good it felt to play it. It's really tough to beat how good this game really was and is, but obviously I'm not as good at it anymore, which is another thing that I always felt was weird. When I was really good at the game too, I always thought, man, like, I don't ever expect myself to not be good at this game. Like, it's got to be just muscle memory at this point, but Yeah, those of you out there that are either just getting into sim, or maybe you played sim a while ago and you're thinking of getting back into it, it's amazing how quick the muscle memory goes. If I don't play this game for, you know, maybe 5-6 days at a time and try to pick it up and play it again, I feel like I'm almost back to square one. Not obviously back to fully square one, because I can actually still kind of complete tracks and do full laps and stuff like that, but yeah, it's a little rough around the edges sometimes when I pick up the game after a while. Ooh, coming into the corner hot. But yeah, cool track here by JPD, and I probably downloaded it like a couple months ago, or nah, probably a couple weeks ago now, and had always wanted to do it for Track Walk, but then a couple other tracks came up, like Checkers' Sky Ranch that I wanted to do, and there's a couple others that are still in the waiting list for me to tackle that I'm sure you guys will be stoked to see a couple more of these coming soon. But yeah, just felt like picking up and playing sim today. Loaded up this track and almost forgot how good the flow of both of these tracks, the motocross and supercross track, really are on this compound. I'm gonna do a little flyover here at the end after I finish this lap up. See if I can get this triple. Yeah, triple and then do a quad right there and then triple into this corner, but obviously messed it up a little bit. Supercross triple one more time. Nice little whip off. And let's do a quick little fly over the facility. Take a look at it though, just to get kind of a bird's eye view. So this is what the house would be right here. Obviously it didn't include like a road into it or anything like that, but then just a bunch of trees that this track is kind of strewn in between. And, you know, visually it looks pretty good when you're playing it. I would say from above it doesn't look all that great, but I feel like this gives like a pretty good idea scale-wise what I mean. Like this is not a massive compound. This is pretty compact how everything is pretty close together. The Supercross track is, you know, its own little corner, but mostly aside from the track going down into the upper right-hand corner here, it's kind of just on this small little plateau, and it goes back and forth, what, 5-6 times or so. It's almost like it's its own little super motocross track to a degree. But yeah, really cool track and a lot of fun to play. Definitely would recommend you guys downloading it, trying it. If anything, what I feel this track has taught me a little bit is just you know, flowing into ruts and corners and angle wise how you want to approach a corner. I did a rut tutorial like 5 years ago now, talking about how to hit ruts in sim, and one of the things that I don't feel like I explained very well in that video was, you know, how kind of taking the right angle into a rut matters. Like I always enter ruts a little bit too shallow. You really want to be like right on where the rut is leading you into the corner. Like for example, if I were coming into this next corner right here, you don't want to be out and then dive back in, because there's a good chance you're going to lose the front end on entry. But then there's a lot of times that I'll enter a corner and I'll be like here and then like dive into the corner and just try to spin it around through the corner. And, you know, I still get through the corner decently, but I definitely don't flow as well. Whereas I feel like a lot of the modern day pros have figured out, you know, kind of the max speed and angle you need to lean into a rut throughout a corner, how to carry that speed throughout. One of those things that I feel like I lost like 3 or 4 years ago, and still mesmerized how good those guys are at it these days. So I do feel this track helps you though with understanding you know, rut entry and angle, because there's not braking bumps into any of these ruts really, so it's more about just kind of angling into the corner and knowing like the right angle in which to hit the rut at, the right angle to be leaned over, the right speed to hit each rut. It's a good little practice, and because it's, you know, got some good traction, it's pretty easy not to slide out and get, you know, fairly used to what the rut feels like. So yeah, I would recommend downloading it just for simply trying that out if you guys are looking to learn a little something new in sim today. But yeah, that's going to be it for this edition, I should say, of Track Walk. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. As always, please be sure to head down to the comment section below and you know, get involved if you have any questions or you want to just talk about anything. I'll be down there chatting with you guys. Download this track in the description below, and shout out to Jack Perry as well for making it again. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in the next one, but I'm signing off for now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.